Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Prose podcast, your go-to source for the art, the craft, and the business of publishing. I'm Tally Shamus, an agented writer and a literary intern.
And I'm Lauren Kahn, an author and literary agent. As former attorneys and book lovers, we're pulling back the curtain on an industry known for being opaque.
We have such a fun episode for you today. Today, we're joined by Olivia Muenter to talk all about reading, writing, podcasting, influencing, and everything in between. Olivia is a writer, reader, and the co-host of the Bad on Paper podcast. Her first novel, Such a Bad Influence, with Quirk Books, was an instant USA Today bestseller. Her second novel, Little One, with Little Brown, will be published in February 2026. A former fashion and beauty editor and freelance writer, Olivia's work has been published in Glamour, Birdie, Bustle, Brides, Health.com, Philadelphia Magazine, and more. You can find her most personal writing via her weekly newsletter where she shares about her life, her work, and everything in between. For more regular life and work updates, follow Olivia on Instagram at Olivia Muenter.
Hi, Olivia. Thank you so much for joining us. As I just mentioned before we started recording, I have been listening to your podcast, Bad on Paper, for those of you who don't know, since 2022, which I can't believe that's now 4 years. So it's quite surreal to have you here. And I've been hearing your voice for 4 years. So now I see your face.
Oh, well, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for listening and for having me.
Oh, of course. It's been so awesome watching your journey. I mean, because I remember the very first time you talked about the fact that you were writing a book. How do you feel like you have your second book coming out next month? We're recording January 2nd. I believe it comes out, is it February 2nd? So 1 month from today?
February 3rd. So yeah.
Oh, February 3rd. Basically a
yes.
month. How are you feeling?
It's a tough time of year to put out a book because we've obviously just had 2 weeks where no one is, really plugged into work. And I'm like thinking about this huge thing in my career coming up. And I'm like, why does no one care as much as I do about this thing? But of course, it's, my baby, not everyone else's. So it's a little bit strange because my first book came out in June. But I'm feeling good. I'm feeling really excited, and it's been like a whirlwind of the last 5 years of writing books and just the best years of my life. So I'm really grateful.
Oh, that's so awesome. I love to hear it. And honestly, I think, I did read an arc of your book, and I think it's perfect for this time of year. It's that kind of book you just want to like get under the covers and stay up all night reading like Tali did with your other book, Such a Bad Influence. And yeah, it's just like that kind of scary, like literary thriller where you just want to be cozied up under the blankets in wintertime. So I think it's
Oh,
perfect.
thank you. Well, originally it was supposed to come out around spring or summer. And I was like, winter, it can't be winter. It's a summer book. But I appreciate hearing that. And it goes to show you, books are for all times of the year.
Exactly.
They are.
Exactly. That's so true.
So how did that all come to be in terms of, deciding when to release it? It sounds like maybe there were some changes made. How is the whole publication experience with Little One?
Mm.
I mean, it's been great. I worked with a smaller independent publisher for my first book. And so with the second book, I'm with a big five. And I was so excited to make that jump, but it's very different. I guess it's the equivalent of being like a big fish in a small pond versus a small to medium sized fish in a giant pond, and so it's definitely been a learning experience, but like ultimately any way I am able to publish books is the best way. And I'm constantly learning. And with Little One, there's just a lot of moving parts. Like I wouldn't have thought before I started publishing books that like the cover goes through sales reps, for example, because they want to make sure that like the places they're selling to, the Barnes and Nobles, the Costco's, they like the book's cover. And with timing, sometimes things get moved around based on how full the season is with other books. So spring and summer, we're looking like really, really jam-packed months. So they're like, well, why don't we do winter? Why don't we do earlier in the year? The book is done, it's ready. So, I mean, there's a lot of different moving parts, and there's so many incredibly smart people that know so much more than I do. So I try my best to just step back and be like, ultimately, you guys are great at your job, and I will try to be good at mine. But there's not always like a ton of overlap, I guess.
Yeah, right.
Honestly, I did not know that much about the publishing process until your How Books Get Made series that you did on Bad on Paper, which I encourage listeners to check out. It was so influential in my own writing and my own publishing journey. Did that serve as a pivot point for you? Were you already thinking about writing a book at that point? I'm trying to remember because it's been a few years, but how did that work?
So I can't remember the exact timeline of things. I started writing what would eventually become Little One in 2021. For a long time, I thought it was 2020, but I have confirmed it was actually 2021. It was, it was a very blurry time. Um, and about a year after that, I connected with this woman named Alex Arnold, who is now one of my close friends. And we decided to work on a novel together. And that became such a bad influence.
Mm,
So, but I didn't actually talk publicly about such a bad influence for almost 2 years. So, there's a lot of, like, behind the scenes stuff going on, and I didn't talk about Little One for a while either, so I don't know the exact timelines, but because I had a kind of non-traditional entry into my first novel, it's been interesting to see all the different ways that people build their careers, because there truly are
mhm,
a lot just beyond the, traditional querying agent submission
mm.
process, and I feel like I've done a lot of different versions of it now, because with my second novel, I did do a really traditional submission experience. So yeah, I'm not to answer your question, I don't know the exact timeline. It's been a crazy 5 years.
But to be honest, I think that's inspiring that there's so many different ways and like hearing, which I would love to dig in more and hear about, like how you got your agent and how you got your first book deal, because I think it's really inspiring for writers to hear that it isn't all about the query trenches and just going on sub. Like there are other ways. So you just can't give up because it might come to you in another way.
Mm.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think I should say I got very, very lucky, and compared to a lot of people that are in the query trenches, like, I've had a much more easy experience in some ways, and I'm very grateful for that, but, yeah, I mean, I actually found my editor first. So, my editor was living in Philly, and I was living in Philly, and I had been posting for about a year about, how I was writing fiction. I absolutely loved it, and I've been a writer for my entire career in different forms. I, was an editor, then I was a freelance writer, and then I was writing essays on my newsletter, and so I just discovered fiction for fun, really, and I just loved it, and I didn't know what I was doing, but it was just the best thing that made me feel the most like myself, and so my editor reached out and she said, "Hey, I'm in Philly too, I work for this small publisher. Can I read what you're working on?" Essentially, I think to see if I, like, had any talent whatsoever, probably, and then we can talk, and then once we decided that we were gonna work together, I did sort of a mini querying process where I reached out with both the opportunity of working on the novel that would become such a bad influence, but also with what I had of Little One. And I said, "Here, I have these 2 projects. I would really love for someone to represent me for my whole career, for both of them." And so during that process, I was rejected, I was accepted, um, and and that was, like, the most tiny version of the querying process, but ultimately it led me to my agent, Dana Murphy, who also lived in Philly, and we were able
Oh,
to meet in person, and, it's just funny, like, I because it was such a strange, non-traditional, way to publish a first novel, way to find an agent, and yet I feel like it led me to the perfect person for me, and we're working on the 3rd book now, in 5 years. Not to go on and on, but but I had a
oh,
lot of
great.
hesitancy with going a non-traditional path to do such a bad influence, because it's not that, you toil for years and then you query for years and then you go to auction. It was just a very non-traditional, small publisher, small deal. But ultimately, I was at this sort of shifting point in my career, and I just realized, like, all I want to do is write. And if this is a way to pay my bills that's not influencing and it's not doing some of the really mindless, like SEO freelance writing I was doing, that I'm going to take it. And it's the best choice I ever made, even if it was, some people I talked to were like, I don't think you want to do that for your first book. And I'm so glad I did.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
incredible.
I'm so glad you did too, because it was a really good book, as Callie knows
Thank
now
you.
after last
So
night.
good. Oh my gosh. I'm actually curious. So you mentioned that the submission process for Little One was a bit closer to what a traditional experience would look like. So how did that look? And also, how did you kind of use your experience with Such a Bad Influence, both in terms of what you learned, but also in terms of how the book did, how sales were, how you kind of positioned that in your pitch for Little One?
Basically, as soon as Such a Bad Influence was in copy edits, I went back to my in progress manuscript, which would become Little One, with my agent. And for about, I would say almost a year, maybe like 10 months, we just worked on draft after draft after draft to get it ready for submission. And for a long time, the goal was to have it on submission before Such a Bad Influence came out. With submission, it's all about strategy and timing. And if you have a book in the world waiting to see how the book does, so you can use it, or like being more conservative and not waiting because you don't want bad numbers, But ultimately, we ended up submitting it maybe 2 or 3 months after Such a Bad Influence came out. And, like I had an incredible publication with Such a Bad Influence. I made the USA Today bestseller list. I had great sales numbers. I was so proud of how it did. And I kind of naively thought that like, oh, well, this will mean that everyone will want my book. And there was interest, and I was so lucky with where I ended up, and it's been perfect. But like it was a solid, week and a half of just like rejection after rejection after rejection. And that was tough. It's painful. And I was like, well, if I have this track record and I have this best-selling book and I still can't um do this, like maybe it really is that bad. Like
Yeah.
it's a very, very intensely vulnerable experience to work on something for many, many years and then just have someone say, "Oh, I don't know," or
Mhm.
almost, but not quite, and that's really hard. Um, but it worked out the way it was supposed to. And I'm so grateful there were editors interested and my editor was interested. And I have to remind myself that like I want to keep doing this, and whatever way that happens is a great way. And I've loved my time with Little Brown.
Oh, well, congratulations. I can't even imagine too, because I've read Little One and I can feel how personal that book is. Like, Such a Bad Influence, yes, but Little One, I just felt threads of you in that book that I did not feel as much from Such a Bad Influence. So to then get rejections, that has to be so painful.
Yeah, yes, it's an intensely personal book, and it's so much about how I have felt about my body and about food throughout my life. One rejection that never will forget is this editor was like, "Oh, it's a little meandering." And I was like, "Oh god." like, and this
No.
was, the book is so much different now, so if you're like, "Oh, that doesn't sound good," just know that it's a lot has changed. But it it's hard because it feels a little like a rejection of you as a person and like your
Mhm.
experience and like whatever voice you have while writing or voice I have while writing that says like, oh, no one will get this, like no one will relate to this. Or even just like in those feelings and those experiences, like I'm the only person who feels this way. To have rejection, which is part of writing books, does sometimes feel like, "Oh, you're correct. You are the only one. Enjoy that." Um, but but yeah, it always finds, or you have to have hope that the work will find its people, editors and readers.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
And I've felt that same way. So Lauren and I are both writers as well. And my first manuscript that I ever wrote, the main character really struggled with intrusive thoughts. And that's something I was struggling with at the time as well. And I remember I had this one reader who said, the way she thinks just isn't realistic. It's just no one, no one's going to believe. And I was like, Well then, I'm sorry. But no,
Yeah.
I find it funny because I think that, especially after reading your Substack posts, I really do see threads of you as well in Such a Bad Influence. And particularly, there was this one post I really wanted to talk about. I know you wrote it a while ago now, but it just stuck out to me, the one with your airplane experience, where the guy had asked you to change seats. And how, you wrote that you don't want to be this people pleaser anymore. And I saw threads of that coming through in Such a Bad Influence. So how do you feel about that now? And do you agree? Did you mean to do that in Such a Bad Influence, or am I reading into it?
Yeah, I think that they're both very personal to me, and I always tell people now that it's not necessarily clear to me when I'm writing them, but it's almost like I write the book and it heals something in me, and then I can move on to, like, the next problem in my mental health or whatever, you know? But, like, writing Such a Bad Influence in so many different ways completely changed my life because it forced me to unpack every, um every sort of self-image and confidence issue that I had that was really based on my internet presence and how I interacted with the internet. It forced me to examine if I wanted to be an influencer, which I ultimately did not. And I did not know that at all when I started writing it. I didn't know. I barely knew. I knew I wanted to be a novelist, but like it seemed so far-fetched in every single possible way. So yeah, and Such a Bad Influence also has body image stuff throughout it. It has a lot of the same self-worth, self-image through lines, but yeah, and they all it always means a lot to me when people say that they like see parts of me in the writing because it is parts of me. And it feels nice to be seen.
Yeah.
Well, we see you for
Yep.
sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Um, both of these books are in the thriller genre. Did you always know that's the genre you wanted to write in?
Yes, I guess, but, genre is a lot more fluid than I guess I expected it to be, and I would say that Little One is more literary,
Mm.
or upmarket, however you wanna define it, you know? It has a lot of also, like, traditional suspense thriller, marks as well, but a lot of the feedback I got from Such a Bad Influence was it's not a thriller, you know, even though it was marketed as such.
Yeah.
And I think I learned through writing that book that I do love thrillers, but I do also in my reading taste tend to lean more literary, more character forward. And I love prose, you know, I love a beautiful sentence. And I think there's just such a loaded feeling. You feel presumptuous if you're like, I'm writing literary, I'm writing upmarket, you know, and also just traditional thriller writing is very difficult. Like the twist after twist after twist making people feel like you're surprising them, but also it feels inevitable is very difficult, and I have immense respect for people doing that. But I think I've just learned that, like, I like a particular kind of book, and I'm trying to write that way, and I have to own that, you know? So I guess it's evolving. But I think suspense is probably the best way to put, like, how I write now. Like, I just love
Mm.
suspense. I love emotional suspense. I love
Yeah.
suspense with romance. I love
Mhm.
suspense with dark themes. Like, I love every version of suspense. Like, I don't know if you guys have read Wild Dark Shore this year. That's everywhere. But,
Yes. Yes.
that to me, like, read like a thriller, but it felt
Mhm.
there was something about that book. I read it and I was like, "Oh, this is what I'm trying to do," which is like that page
Yeah.
turning, you're lost in the story feeling while still having an emotional reaction to sentences or words or
Yeah.
characters. I think I've just learned to like own that that's what I want to do. And so each book I've found leans a little closer to like the exact genre I'm best at, I hope, I think.
I completely agree, and I actually just took a writing class with CC Lyra on building tension, and that's exactly what you're doing. It doesn't matter what genre it is. You're creating tension, you're forming curiosity seeds, you're keeping the reader turning the page, but it's not necessarily a thriller, but you have to find out what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's all I want. But yeah, it's been nice to like, I don't know, let myself go there and let myself and have an editor who like sees, you know, I remember she said, like, "I'm imagining this lives in, like, the paper palace, the God of the woods sort of
Yes.
universe," and I'm like,
Hmm.
"God, I love you," 'cause it gave me permission to be like, "Yeah, that is what I wanna write," you know, and it's okay if
Yes.
someone else doesn't think I'm as good as them, of course, but, like, that's what I want to aspire to, and feels really, like, good to just know that.
Well,
Yeah.
I know you love Liz Moore, and so I was gonna say Little One gave me very much Liz Moore vibes, where The God of the Woods is a thick book. I mean, that is a
Yeah.
very thick book, but I could not stop reading it, and it's so literary, but it's also a thriller, and yeah, Little One definitely gave me those vibes, so there you
Thank
go.
you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you so much. I will remember that.
Yeah, good.
Yeah. And I absolutely love your prose on a sentence level. Like the way that you craft sentences, you convey so many different things with so few words. So, like, one thing that really stood out to me is the way that you weave descriptions into your writing seamlessly. So, for example, I'm thinking such a bad influence because it's just right at the top of my mind. You have this one hate comment that someone had left for Evie, and it says, she's like if Jean-Benet Ramsey was a hipster. And it's so funny. It's like it's this funny little hate comment, but it gives you such a strong mental image, and it's so hard to do descriptions. So what have you found kind of the most useful tools in terms of building that skill set?
First of all, thank you. I can't imagine a greater compliment, and that's very flattering. I I write all the time. I journal about everything, and I think a lot about things that I don't think other people I don't think my husband is thinking about, like, the snow as deeply as I am. I'm looking out and it's white, but I love, like, beauty, and that example is very dark and funny, and I like that stuff too. I think I always think about things visually, I guess. Like, I just really like
Yeah.
colors and textures and sounds, and I think a lot about my life is, like, designing it in a weird way.
Mm.
Like, what song do I want to be playing, and what piece of furniture do I want in the background? What outfit do I wanna be wearing? And I think writing is very similar to that, and because I think so much about, um texture and color and all of these things, I think it just
Yeah.
helps. But yeah, I'm not sure if I answered that. That's a great question. But
Yeah, no, you did. And I think we can see it. I mean, even today I was going to compliment you because you've got this kind of monochrome look going on, but then you've got the texture with the hat and then just
Yeah.
the plain shirt. I love it. It's very good.
thank you. I'm literally in workout clothes, but I appreciate that. I do love a color blocking moment.
Well, as you're talking about creating your descriptions and your setting and the vibe, you have to tell us about your writing cottage because I this year really want a more of an aesthetic writing space, and I feel like you're the pro. Like we're coming to you, asking for you to give us tips.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm very lucky to have a husband whose hobby is, like, making things, and as we speak, he has been crafting a very elaborate dog bed for our dog for, like, 2 months, and it's like he just ordered, like, the foam to make sure it's not cold on the bottom, like,
Oh, amazing.
he got trims. So anyway,
Stop.
so we had this sort of cottage-like building right off of the back of our house, which is, an old Victorian house, and as soon as we saw the house, even though this space I'm in it right now was, like it was covered in dirt, there was cobwebs, there was mice droppings everywhere, um, I just always thought, like, I've always just wanted a separate magical space, and so it took us a while to get started on it. We just finished it last year, and so it took us about 2 years, I guess, to get it ready, and it's still, like, very cold. It's almost too cold to be in it today, but there's a wood-burning stove, and I have, a corner L-shaped desk, which I've always dreamt of, and my bulletin board, and just random art. I have a copy of The Paper Palace and God of the Woods. Um, yeah, I like lots of little reminders and notes and candles. Um, and it makes me really just feel like myself, and I'm so grateful to have a space like that. Just feels like it feels like if I died tomorrow, I would be like, "Oh, that was a beautiful was a beautiful life I had. um,
Oh,
and I am really grateful for it.
I love that. I'm very jealous. And you did mention that you're always writing, you're journaling. I know you're substacking, you're writing fiction. How do you structure your days when it comes to writing? Like, do you have a
Mm.
set routine? Like, okay, at this time I'm going to go sit down and I'm going to write fiction, or like, how does that all play out?
So I generally try to work on whatever I'm doing with fiction. So if it's editing or drafting, first thing in the day. So I usually will get in my office, journal, make my to-do list for the day, and then before I work out, before lunch, I try to get like the biggest chunk of creative work. So drafting, editing, like I said. And then in the later in the afternoon, after I work out, after I have lunch, I do podcast stuff. I do a Substack. Podcasts, other podcast interviews or whatever I try to do later in the afternoon. I just find that if lunch passes, like I'm just not revisiting whatever it is, unless it's something like copy edits or it's not that like deep thinking creative work.
I feel the same way that if I don't knock out my writing first thing, it's like I just don't have the mental energy, the creative energy. I feel drained. So that's yeah, that's encouraging that I should continue to do it first.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hear
100%.
people that work at night and I'm like, couldn't be
No,
me. I like
no.
No,
could not. Like
no.
honestly, after 5 p.m., I'm not functioning very well.
Right? No, when I was in high school, I could stay up, pull an all-nighter, finish an assignment. Those days are long gone.
Oh, yeah. When I first started writing fiction, I have this vivid memory of being in bed with my laptop after my husband Jake went to sleep, and I think it's because I thought, like, "This is what novelists do." Like, I am in a Nancy Meyers film, and I am click-clacking away on my laptop while, in the dead of night, and, yeah, I
Yep.
never did that again. So, I've for a very long time, like, when I first started out, I would do it from, like, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. very religiously, but when I was doing a lot of other jobs in addition to it, and,
Mhm.
now I feel lucky that I can, start at maybe 9. Um, but yeah.
Well, I love
Oh,
how you're organizing it too. Like the morning, this is solely devoted to fiction, and then you have that mental break, the workout, lunch, and then you shift into your afternoon work. And I mean, you are treating this, which I mean, it is now your full time job. Like this is your 9 to 5, and you're treating it as such. And I love like the new year energy to kind of restructure the way I think about things. And so I'm gonna say it now. I'm treating this like my 9 to 5.
I like, it's been a series of very, like, gradual shifts to get to this point where it is my full-time job, but, frankly, like, I could not just write books, like, I have to have that on paper, I have to have my
Hmm.
Substack, and and I have a very good deal, and that just goes to show you, like, how difficult this industry is, and I'm making royalties on my first book, so and I still
Yeah.
need to have these other things, and I should say I still benefit massively from having a partner with a much more stable traditional career with health insurance and all those things. But for me, it's like I've had to make a series of very conscious choices of like, I'm choosing this, I am letting go of
Hmm.
this. I'm
Hmm.
choosing writing, I am letting go of influencing, I'm choosing writing, I'm letting go of consulting. And it's been scary every single time, but ultimately, like to be in this phase now where I have 3 projects instead of 10, um, it's really proved to me that, like, when you do go all in, like, it's there is a, transition period, but I do think it absolutely can work out, and, um, I never, like, doubt how committed I am ever, ever.
well, you have, several things on the go. Your podcasts, podcastus with an S, Bad on Paper. You have
Oh,
Little
yeah.
Pod coming soon, right?
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
and then you have your Substack. So, what have you learned from all of those different projects, and what have you found most interesting? We're also on a podcast here, so we can get a little bit meta about running a podcast.
Oh, well, I was lucky enough to get brought into Bad on Paper in a very kind of random way, actually around the very same time that I started on Such a Bad Influence, and it was just this moment of like my life was just shifting in this direction towards writing and reading, and every step of the way I was like, "Oh, this feels so much better. This feels so much more fulfilling to me than a lot of the stuff I was doing before." And so I feel really, really grateful that Becca, took a chance on me and was like, "Hey, do you want to co-host this podcast and have this job?" And I had never podcasted before. And I really love it. Like, I love the medium of podcasting. I love having a friendship and a relationship with the listeners. Like, I love the community of it so much. I'm like so firm in my belief that we need people who love the same things we do and who love books, and like we need to know that we're out there, and so I love it, and it's been like a huge gift to me, and I mean, through influencing and editor stuff, like I've always done some sort of online marketing of my life, but like it's been nice to like redirect that energy towards like I just want to sell books, and I want you to like me too and follow me, and that would be great. But like, I'm not going to make you buy a dress. Like, I want you to buy my book. um, Not that there's anything wrong with doing both, and I certainly did both for a long time too. But it's a privilege to be able to like redirect energy that way and to experiment with like doing retreats for people that listen to the
Mhm.
podcast or follow me, or in these communities, and just like make things. Like I just want to make things. And that's what Little Pod is too. Like I just want to redirect my anxious energy into building things that are interesting and hopefully make people feel good.
Yeah.
Well, I will tell you, your podcast, Bad on Paper, and I want to talk more about Little Pod, but Bad on Paper
Mhm.
specifically, I started listening actually, I think you had already joined, and it has become such a comfort listen to me. Tali and I are both new moms, and when I was like in the trenches with a newborn, like I would just go on a walk and I would just listen to you guys talk about books, and it is such a comfort listen. I'm telling you, like I know people listen to podcasts for different reasons, but to be able to just hear you guys chat about your favorite books, it just like warmed my heart when I really needed it. So please keep podcasting.
I definitely will, and that means so much, and congratulations to both of you on becoming
Oh,
moms.
thank you.
But we
Yeah.
do hear that a lot of people of like they're up in the middle of the night feeding a
Yep.
newborn, and it really, really means a lot to me, and I take it like very seriously in terms of like when I meet people who listen to the podcast, like now, I'm just like these are my friends. Like, like these I feel like we're all in this thing together and I just want to hang
We
out all the
are.
time. And so I really, really appreciate that and I'm so glad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think everyone comes to podcasts for different reasons, but that's been the reason for this season, not to rhyme. But tell us, please. I mean, here I'm girling about your podcasting skills. Tell us, please, more about Little Pod. I know you, or as much as you can tell. I know you dropped a little teaser on your Instagram.
Yeah. So I started thinking about this a few months ago, and I really just wanted to take a different angle of podcasting and also of the publication experience, and to turn sort of like a lot of the anxieties and spirals and worries I have into a very personal narrative, almost like documentary style podcast that's really, really, really personal. Um, but almost like I'm taking the listener with me when I go to, my one of my favorite authors' houses to sit down with them in their kitchen and talk to them about how they define success as I grapple with like this idea of am I successful? Am I ever going to feel successful enough? Or I talk to an author that I have been historically very jealous of, and we like go really deep on that. And as I, deal with comparing myself to other people. So there's a lot of shared DNA with Bad on Paper, but it's very different. And it's really just like this limited, it honestly is a way to keep me busy right now. And of course promote Little One. But I think people who know me and like know my Substack will hopefully like it. And I'm making it with my friend James, which has been such a fun, like creative experience. And we're like going on a road trip to interview a teacher that I hadn't spoken to in 25 years. I found her and so you heard it here first. And we had a conversation about like the things that she said to me that really meant something to me as a writer and, like, have stuck with me, and I cried. And,
Aw.
so, yeah, it's just been a really beautiful way to focus on the things that, like, are true to who I am and my values as a human and an author, in this time where it's so easy to be like, "Oh my god, I didn't get a book club pick, I'm gonna die." You know? That is not true. And yeah, I'm so excited. There's a lot to do still, actually, but I'm excited to share more in a few weeks.
I'm so excited. That jealousy point that you've brought up, I mean, I think about that all the time. I try to just focus on the fact that that means that I want something, and I try to, like, sit in that feeling, but
Hmm.
it's hard. Especially, I feel like in this industry, you're just being inundated with, like, publishers marketplace deals every single day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah, and I thought I would get one, and then I would be like, "Oh, and still I see them and I'm like, "I didn't get that," you know?
Yep.
And they
Yep.
did, and is it because of this or that, and should I do something different? And it's very tough.
Mm.
How do you guys deal with it? I love your, like, reframe of, "I just means I want something," because that's very true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, that's what I try to focus on most. I because that bar, it just keeps moving. The second you get an agent, it's like, okay, well now I want a book deal. Well now I want to be on a list. And it's very hard to just be satisfied with what you have in publishing. So I
Yeah.
think realizing that that's something I want, realizing how far I've come. I mean, at a certain point, I had never even written a book, and that was the goal. Also, I think, and I talk about this with Tali, but focusing on just the season I'm in, as I mentioned, I have 2 under 2, so it's like, okay, maybe I can't
Wow.
be writing all day because 'cause I'm raising 2 humans,
Yeah.
and that's okay because that season will pass, and I will be so sad when this season is over. So,
Yeah.
just trying to focus on, if someone is prolific and they're writing multiple books per year, maybe they aren't also up all night with a newborn, you know?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, that's very true. Probably not. That's so
Yeah.
much work.
Yeah. I think for me, what really helps is to have a very concrete goal that I'm actively working towards. So even if I see, and I try not to look too much on Publishers Marketplace or whatnot, but having an actual solid goal that I am putting steps in towards every day, I think is very exciting. And I think it's also a great way to not get bogged down in that. So for me right now, I decided that I want to move toward being a literary agent because the thought of selling books for a living, Lauren is an agent and huge
Oh,
inspiration. And
cool.
yeah, and
Thank you.
I just thought, like, how incredible to be able to sell something that I love every day. I mean, Olivia, you know how this is. So I'm starting an internship actually on Monday at an agency, and that's kind of been just, I have blinders on. That's all I see. That's what I'm working towards. That's what I'm prepping for. And I find that that really helps me.
That's
Yeah.
yes, thank you for bringing that up. That's a huge part of it is focusing on what I can control. I just
Mhm.
wanna be in the publishing industry. Of course, I wanna be a published author, but I just wanna be able to be in the industry, and so I work towards becoming
Yeah.
an agent or, I work towards just write something. If you don't finish a book, you can't sell a book. So focusing on what I can control.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's so true.
Yeah. Oh, I've always thought about that, like, I love my agent so much, and I realize how hard her job is in so many ways, and I'm so, like, grateful for all the work that she does, but I have thought about, like, oh my, it must be the best feeling to call someone and be like, "This is happening," "This
Mm,
is happening," and I
Mhm.
never ever text my agent, like, I have a very strong boundary, and I try to respect it, but after I signed the deal for Little One and it was all done, like, I had this bottle of champagne I was saving for the whole time, all 4 years that this book existed. I, like, sent her a photo of it, and I was just like, "Thank you so much for, like, being in this with me." Because, like, there's nothing, talking about being seen, like, the act of seeing someone's writing and being like, "I will be with you in this," is just so magical. So I could never do it probably, but the other day I did sort of go down, like, the fantasy rabbit hole. I'm like, "That would be so amazing." And it's such a noble, it's so business oriented in a lot of ways, but I think it's, like, such a noble profession in so many ways
yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what you just said about the champagne bottle, it's true. It's like you get to call someone and be like, "I just helped you make your dream come true." And that
Exactly.
Mhm.
is oh, I have chills just thinking about it.
It's
Yeah,
huge. It's
yes.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My agent changed my life for sure, and I think
Oh,
and it's the deals and it's all of that, but it's also just the fact that I still remember when I sat down with her, and literally there was one person in the world that had read my fiction other than her, and she said, "Oh, I was underlining sentences," and I was like,
oh,
"Oh my gosh, like, someone gets it," and
mhm.
yeah, and I still remember it, and it's still it still gets me through sometimes, so I'm like, "What am I doing?" I'm like, "Here's one person."
Wow.
I love that. It gives me chills. Well,
Yeah.
so you obviously we're big fans of your writing, and I'm assume you have a third book on the way since you're always writing.
Yes, I can share more about it soon, probably.
Okay.
I'm under
Ah.
Okay.
instruction not to say anything yet, but, I'm very, very happy and I'm very, very excited.
Okay.
So,
Awesome.
as I was sort of saying, like, I feel in a lot of ways like this 3rd book, I've hit some sort of a I don't know, my stride, I guess. And maybe
Oh,
that's how every
Love
book
that.
feels, but I'm really, really excited.
that's incredible. I think that
Awesome.
when every next project feels more exciting than the last, you know you're on the right track.
That's so true, I think, and I always so far anyway, I've always tried to, like, be really deep in something by the time the book comes out, and it served me so well.
Mhm.
Because truly, like, it's not about the success of any one book, and, of course, it has to be a certain level of successful to keep going, but, like, it is about the act of sitting down every day and working on something, and that's what makes me happiest.
Yeah.
And so the more I'm doing that, the more the happier I am, honestly, but yeah, I
Oh,
hope I'm always as excited about the next thing.
I'm so glad you said this because I refer to you a lot because it is so obvious to me that you are someone who loves to write. Like genuinely loves writing because there are people who love to have written and are like, "Oh, there's my book." But you genuinely love writing and I love listening to you talk about it because it's so inspiring for me.
Thank you. Yeah, it is, like similarly to, like, how I said earlier with my office, like, if I get to the end of my life and, like, I've gotten to do this, like, I just know that this is it for me. Like, there's nothing else that I wanna do more. So, to have discovered that no matter what happens with my career is, like, the greatest gift. I mean, yeah, it's the best.
That's
Well,
incredible.
you're doing it.
Thanks, I'm trying.
You mentioned something about writing retreats, and I was actually really
Mm.
interested to chat about that. So, you wrote on your Substack that this company approached you and wanted to host a retreat together. So, can you tell us a little bit about that, what that experience was like?
Yeah, so back in it must have been 2022 when I was still sort of making money from influencing and doing brand partnerships. This group travel company approached me, and essentially the model was like you promote the trip, you go on the trip, and you sell it and you make commission off of the people that go. And so I did 2 of these, and I was really nervous, and they both happened during 2023, which is a really, really hard year for me in a lot of ways. We moved, it was like, there's a lot of personal stuff going on, and it was just a lot. It was one of those years where it's just like, could we just not have a, like, eventful month? Could we just have one where it's like nothing's happening? But I went on these trips and, like, it was so wonderful to be with people who just so clearly got me and, like, got each other, and it was just so comforting and so nice. But I just kept thinking, like, I'm very detail oriented. I would like to plan it myself. Like, I don't want the
Mhm.
company to pick the hotel. I don't want the company to plan the meals. And so it took me a while, but yeah, this year I hosted one all on my own and I planned it from start to finish. And yeah, it happened. It sold out. I think people had fun. It just felt really wonderful. I would love to do it again. It's a lot of work and it's
Mhm.
kind of hard to like make a profit without charging people an exorbitant fee, which I really would not want to do. But yeah, I just love like making things and for people in this way.
And I think writing is such a solitary craft. We sit
Mhm.
down to write and we're alone. And it's so nice to be able to do that with a group of people, to kind of do something solitary, but with others.
Yes, yeah. And reading too, reading is
Mhm.
also very
Yeah.
Mhm.
solitary, but and like writing, like I find it to be this like sacred thing that a lot of people in my life I have a lot of readers in my life, but when you're like a capital R reader, it's like a different thing. It's like I have to read to like survive, you know? And so to be around people that get both of those things is like so cool. And yeah, to like watch Pride and Prejudice together and
Oh,
drink tea or wine or whatever
say no
is very
more.
nice. Yeah, I had this moment during this last one where it was like we were in this movie room loft thing. It's very cozy and just watching Pride and Prejudice and Little Women. And I was like, oh, I just wanted an adult like sleepover for people that are nerds.
Yeah, I love that.
That sounds amazing. Will there be another one? Because I may need to get on that.
Oh, yeah.
I have a crazy year ahead, but
You have a lot going on.
I have the book coming out, and then I have some serious deadlines, but which I'm very happy to have as a working author. But yeah, I really want to plan one in the Cotswolds in the UK because I like
Oh,
love
oh my
the
gosh.
Cotswolds,
Yes,
and I do have a
Yes.
place picked out. But it's just, there's a lot of logistics that go into it.
Yeah.
But like
Mm.
stretch goal for the year is to make that happen for sure.
Wow. I am there. Sign me up.
I
Amazing.
would love to have you both.
We
That'd
would
be
love to
so
be there.
fun. Well, believe it or not, we've never actually met in person. And this is
Yes,
actually
so
our second podcast episode filming together. So,
Oh,
yeah,
really?
I actually was going to tell you I'm having a similar journey where Tali had started this show and then invited me in as a co-host. So this is our second episode together.
yeah.
Oh, that's so exciting. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
Becca and I only see each other maybe a couple times a year.
Mm.
Um, it's just the way it works
amazing.
out, but like we're, together every week filming and stuff, or recording, I should say. But yeah, that's so exciting. I mean, podcasting and sharing a podcast with someone is so special. And I'm amazed by the amount of people that just reach out and say, this meant something to me in some way. We just got an email of someone that said, I started a business because you guys are making your dreams come true. And I was like,
Oh
I,
my
cou- I could never start a
God.
business in that way. Like, I'm inspired by you. So, anyway, podcasting has a lot of power and a lot of community building. So, I'm
It
excited for
it
both of
to
you.
it does. Oh,
Yeah.
thank you, thank you. And to be honest, we are both capital R readers. This is a lot of our relationship is talking about
Yeah.
books, if you can imagine.
Mhm.
So, we would be remiss to not ask you, I mean, what are you reading? What are you looking forward to
Mm.
2026? We're getting our TBRs going, so
Oh gosh. Well, I finally got a NetGalley account,
oh,
which is
it's
ridiculous. I
about
didn't have
time.
one. I know. I was kind of avoiding it for a while because it's just so tempting to then go look at reviews of your own book, but
Oh, that's
which I
fair. That's
really
fair.
do not do. But I finally did because I'm trying to be more budget conscious in this new year, and I just got approved for Whitby
Oh,
by T. Kira Madden. It's like a
oh,
literary thriller, I think, mystery,
amazing.
and I'm so excited. I'm obsessed with the cover. It's
Oh,
Widbey,
okay.
and I'm really looking forward to that one. Oh, also Tracy Sierra, who wrote Night Watching, has a
Mm.
book coming out.
Love her. Love her. I actually worked at
And
the same law firm as her. And she was
what?
yes, she's a huge expander for me. When I saw that she's a published author and was like Tonight Show, book
Yeah.
club pick, and yeah, we were at the same law firm. I was like, Tracy Sierra, the woman that you are. That book is crazy. I
Oh,
love night watching.
I'm obsessed with her. I need to pre-order her new book actually. And then I love Claire Daverly, who wrote Talking at Night, and
Oh,
she has
yes.
a new book coming out. I think it's called People in Love in 2026, and oh, I can't wait. I'm
Mm.
Talking at Night like changed something in me as a person and a writer, and my next book has a romance in it, and so I've just been thinking about like the way that she wrote that relationship is just
Hmm.
it haunts me in the best way. So
Hmm.
I'm excited for those.
Wow. Those are some great
Incredible.
picks.
Incredible choices. I'm going to look up Whitby. That's the only one I haven't heard about. So thank you.
Yeah, it's starting to get some buzz, I've been noticing. So we'll see. We'll see how it is. I'm excited.
Amazing. Well, I think to wrap it up, honestly, it is January 2nd. So I think we have to ask, what are you looking forward to this year? Do you have any big goals that you'd love to share?
Well, gosh, this is such a nice way to start the new year, by the way. Like, this has been
I
so
agree.
lovely, and you guys have asked
Thank
such
you.
thoughtful questions, and it's very, very appreciated. I'm looking forward to going on tour. I haven't actually announced anything yet, but I'm going to 14 or 15 cities, so I'm really excited.
So
That's
exciting.
amazing, Olivia. Oh my gosh.
Thanks.
Wow. Are you coming to
And
Florida? That's another reason I feel like I know you. A bunch of my family went to UF. I live near Orlando,
oh
Florida
yeah.
area.
So yes, I'm going to the Clearwater Library on Valentine's
Oh,
Day. Organizing a book tour is really hard because it's
yeah.
like book tours aren't really prioritized by publishers, and I'm lucky that I have a track record with such a bad influence where I can be like, "Oh no, I'm telling you I can sell out this exact city. I don't know about this other city, but even getting bookstores to take a chance is really hard." So, even if you say like I sold out this, they don't believe you. um I'm trying to like add one or two experiment stops on each tour. Like I'm doing LA this time. Um I might do
Ooh, I love
Portland,
that.
Oregon this time. Maybe next time I'll do
Amazing.
Toronto. Or
Okay,
Canada.
well,
I know you're not in Toronto probably.
actually am. Well, I'm just about an hour away. But just like in Florida, you will have a ticket sale in Toronto. At least one. I'll bring my husband too. There you go.
I would love that.
Bring your kids.
You have four. You have four
That
now.
would be great. I need that. Okay, very off track. Let's see. So yeah, I'm looking forward to going on tour because I feel like
Awesome.
that also reorients me to like what's actually important to me, which is connecting with other human beings who love to read.
Yeah.
And hopefully like my books, but that's not required. And I think just also once that is done, just getting back to just writing every day and the quiet and not like shoving a pre-order link down people's throats nonstop because it's like exhausting, and I know it's exhausting for other people. So I love the quiet, just me writing in here alone just as much. So I'm very much looking forward to that as well.
Sounds
That's
like you've got a
awesome.
great year ahead of you.
I hope so. Thank you.
You do. I'm excited. I'm excited for other people to have read Little One because like I said, I read an early copy, so I can't talk about it with anybody. So it needs to be out in the world. I'm ready to talk about it.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's weird because I feel like it is out because it's been floating around. People have read advanced copies. So it's a
Mhm.
strange thing to be like, oh, actually, no. Like most people don't pre-order, and most people will just go to a store and hopefully it'll be there. But I'm excited too.
Well, thank you so much. This has been so amazing, and as I've mentioned now so many times, I feel like I've known you for 4 years, so to actually meet you has been such a treat.
Oh, thank you. This has been great, and I can tell how much like thought and time you guys put into the interview. So I really appreciate that.
Oh,
Well,
thank you so much.
much. And thank you all so much for watching. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Pros podcast, and remember to tune in next Tuesday for a new episode.